Business Skills: Finance, Money Management, and Marketing. Written by Nathan Sides. Read for you by Chloe Jacobson. Chapter 1. Money Management Abilities that every small business owner should have. To start, here are some crucial abilities to manage cash, and this is what makes or destroys a business. 1. Adhering to a budget. Small companies are the heart of our economy, making up 99% of the United States companies, according to Babson College. And even though your most essential job as a small business owner is to help your clients, developing some business financing knowledge is vital too. Increasing your financial literacy is simpler than you think, particularly when you use budgeting software application to help. At the heart of every effective business is the capability to budget. Understanding budgeting fundamentals, which includes how much money you're making and spending monthly, is definitely vital for evaluating the health of your business. On a definite basic level, month-to-month budgeting helps you learn if you're making a profit, and if so, how much. Plus, it helps to track client spending routines from month to month and year to year. Budgeting is also vital for measuring the effect of your business decisions. If you're not thoroughly tracking your finances, there is no other way to know whether a previous decision led to a profit or if it had a negative impact on your bottom line. 2. Setting realistic objectives. Speaking of objectives, successful small business owners know how to set the right ones. In fact, your goals should specify, be quantifiable and attainable, results-based, and time-limited. Simply put, this implies using your present budgeting information to set monetary goals customized to your business. 3. Tax reductions. If you are a startup or solopreneur, it's all too simple to run your business from your personal checking account. This causes confusion when you're trying to measure business revenue and expenses separate from your personal finance resources, which could cause trouble at tax time. Without separate accounts, the IRS could deem your business more of a pastime, nixing your ability to declare some tax reductions, like home office expenditures. 4. Keeping documentation and receipts. While record keeping might not be the most exciting aspect of owning a small business, it's an important one. You really need to keep a record of each transaction, particularly the ones that you prepare to deduct as business expenditures, so as to have all of the paperwork you really need come tax time. This is true for all apparent business-related expenditures, like energy costs and office rent, and all office expenses you prepare to claim on your taxes. 5. Working together on financial management. Even if you are a solopreneur or sole founder of your business, you don't need to process all your monetary info alone. Usually, you'll want to collaborate with business partners, financiers, or contractors, like accountants, to look at your business monetary information to make decisions about the future, or simply to make tax time a little easier. Chapter 2. The Basics of Money Management. Making money and finance can be tricky business, simply because in addition to consumers, cash flow and handling your accounts properly is what keeps your business humming along. Consequently, earning money in full and on time, as well as comprehending money management, needs to become a top priority, even if you elect to work with an accounting professional or accountant to manage the books. You'll still need to acquaint yourself with standard bookkeeping and money management principles and activities such as comprehending credit, reading bank declarations and tax forms, and understanding balance, dues, and payable. You also have to give mindful considerations to the purchase payment choices you offer customers, including money, checks, debit cards, credit cards, and online payment choices, as well as developing payment terms and money debt collection in the event of non-payment. Opening a bank account. When you've chosen a name and you've also registered your company, you're going to really need to open a commercial bank account. Establishing a firm bank account is easy. You can begin by selecting the specific bank that you prefer. And think small business friendly. First, call it up to set up a consultation to open your account. There's not much more required than that. However, when you go, make sure you take personal recognition and your business name registration papers and business license because these are usually required to open a commercial savings account. The next step will be to deposit funds into your new account. Even $100 is all right. If your credit is good enough, you should also ask the bank to connect a credit line to your account, which can prove extremely helpful when making purchases for the company or during slow sales times to cover overhead costs until business goes right back up. Likewise, you should inquire about a credit card merchant account, debit account, and other small business services. Accounting. When it comes time to set up your monetary books, you have two options: do it yourself or employ an accountant or bookkeeper. You might want to do both by keeping your own books and hiring an accountant to prepare year-end financial declarations and tax forms. If you choose to keep your own books, make sure you invest in accounting software applications such as QuickBooks or Quicken, just because they are simple to use and make bookkeeping almost pleasurable. Most accounting software programs enable you to produce invoices, track bank account balances and merchant account information, and keep track of accounts payable and receivable. If you're not sure about your bookkeeping abilities, even with the aid of accounting software, you could wish to hire a bookkeeper to do your books on a month-to-month basis and a chartered account professional to audit the books quarterly and prepare year-end business declarations and income tax return. To find an accounting professional or accountant in your area, you can get in touch with the USA Association of Chartered Accountants or the American Institute of Specialist Bookkeepers. In Canada, you can call the Chartered Accountants of Canada or the Canadian Bookkeepers Association. If you're only cleaning windows on weekends and want to make a few extra bucks, there is little need for accounting software application or accounting professional services. Just invest in a standard ledger and record all business expenses and sales. Because you're doing it on your own now, be sure to use a common sense technique when determining how much to invest in your business versus the expected earnings and profits. Also, remember to keep all business and tax records in a dry and safe place for up to 7 years. This is the maximum amount of time the Internal Revenue Service and Profits Canada can request past business profits and expense information. Accepting money, checks, and debit cards. In today's super competitive business environment, you should supply customers with tons of ways to pay, including but not limited to money, debit card, credit card, and electronic money. There's an expense to supply these payment alternatives: account costs, transaction costs, equipment leasing, and merchant charges based upon the portion of the overall sales value. However, these expenditures should be deemed a cost of doing business in the 21st century. You can, though, decrease costs by looking for the best service with the best rates. Not all of the bank's merchant accounts and payment processing services are the exact same, and fees differ commonly. You can also talk to a small company association such as the Chamber of Commerce to see if they offer member discount rates. It's not unusual to save as much as 2% on credit card merchant fees. Just remember, customers expect choices when it comes time to pay for their purchase, and if you choose not to offer these decisions, you should expect less sales. Cash is the first way to earn money, which is great because it's liquid and there's no processing time required. As fast as the money comes in, you can use it to pay expenses and invest in business-building activities to increase revenues and profits. The significant disadvantage is that money is risky because you could get robbed or lose it. And in those cases, gathering from your insurer could prove tough if there is no paper transaction as proof. Even if you prefer not to receive cash, there are those that will pay in money. So get in the practice of making it a day-to-day bank deposit at the time of daylight hours. Additionally, you should invest in good quality safe or money storage for the times that you can't go to the bank. If you're running a service organization, one of the most popular ways people still pay for services is with a check. You have to take some safety measures to guarantee you don't get left holding a rubber check, particularly when dealing with new clients. Ask to see a photo ID and write the customer's chauffeur license number on the check. If the amount of the check surpasses several $100s, ask the purchaser to get the check accredited or pay with a bank draft instead, specifically if the client is new to your business. Also, get in the practice of checking dates and dollar total up to make certain they're right. I've been caught several times with wrong dates and dollar quantities, and it can be time-consuming to have to get a new check simply because of a basic mistake. Debit cards are another option. But to accept them, you really need to purchase or rent a debit card terminal. Most banks and credit unions offer business clients debit card equipment and services. The processing devices will set you back about $40 a month for a terminal connected to a standard telephone line, and about $100 monthly for a cellular terminal, plus the cost of the telephone line or cellular service. There is also a deal fee charged by the bank and payable by you each time there is a debit card transaction, which varies from 10 cents to 50 cents per transaction, based on variables like dollar value and frequency of use. Opening a credit card merchant account. Many consumers have changed fiat money entirely in favor of plastic for buying items and services. In fact, giving your customers the alternative to pay for purchases with a credit card is usually essential to success. This is especially true if you prepare to do business on the web, because charge cards and electronic money are used to complete particularly all web sales and monetary transactions. To offer customers charge card payment choices, you're going to need to open a credit card merchant account. Get going by visiting your bank or credit union, or by getting in touch with a merchant account broker such as First American Card Service, Card Service International, or Merchant Account Express to ask about opening an account. Offering your credit is sound, you're going to have to run into a few barriers. If your credit is poor, you might have problems opening a merchant account or need to supply a significant security deposit. If you are still unsuccessful, the next best choice is to open an account with an online payment provider, which is discussed in the next section. The advantages of opening a charge card merchant account allow you to accept charge card payments are numerous. Truth be told, research studies have proven that merchants who accept charge cards can increase sales by up to 50%. Not to point out that you can accept charge card payments online, over the telephone, by mail, and face-to-face, and also sell services on an installation basis by getting permission to charge your consumer's charge card month to month or per agreement. Naturally, all these advantages do come at a cost, specifically when you consider that you'll have to pay an application cost, setup fee, purchase or rent processing equipment, and software application, pay administration and statement charges, and pay processing and transaction charges, ranging from 2 to 8% on overall sales volume. Once again, these costs must be viewed as the cost of doing business. Internet payment services that exist. Online payment services allow people and companies to exchange currency electronically over the internet. Those services are incredibly popular with customers and merchants. PayPal is one of the more popular online payment services with more than 40 million members in 45 countries, offering personal and business account services. Both types of accounts allow funds to be transferred electronically among members, but only the business account allows merchants to accept charge card payments for products and services. The benefits of online payment service are that they're quick, simple, and cheap to open, no matter your credit ranking or prepared for sales volumes, and you can get payment from any consumer with an email account. You can have the funds deposited straight into your account, have a check provided and sent by mail, or leave funds in your account to make use of your debit card. The only real downside is that most services reroute your customers to their website to complete the transaction. That can confuse people who may, in many cases, abandon the purchase. Nevertheless, the benefits of online payment services far exceed any disadvantages. Developing payment terms. Every small business owner also needs to establish a payment terms policy. Though you certainly want to standardize the way you make money, at the same time, you're going to also need to be flexible enough to meet clients' needs on an individual basis. Setting payment terms covers deposits, progress payments, and extending credit. It is essential to establish clear, written payment terms with clients before supplying services or delivering them. Your payment terms need to be printed on your estimate forms, including informal contracts and work orders, and printed on your final billing and monthly account declarations. Protecting deposits. If you run a service company, you need to get in the habit of asking clients for a deposit just before supplying services, particularly if the work also involves item sales that have to be paid for by you ahead of time. In this specific case, the deposit needs to be for, at the very least, the value of the materials. If you're supplying labor only, try to secure a deposit of at the very least 1/3 to half of the total value of the contract in advance of offering any services. Your order form or agreement should have the deposit info obviously mentioned, info on canceled orders or contracts, and ensuring that at minimum, fundamental out-of-pocket expenses are covered must the customer cancel the job or contract. Development payments. Development payments are also a way to ensure that you do not leave yourself open to monetary risk. The key to effectively securing development payments is to prearrange your contract and payment terms. Settle on the amount that will be due at various stages of the project. You can use portions to determine the progress payments, like 25% deposit, 25% upon delivery of any materials, 25% upon substantial completion, and the balance completion or within 1 month of significant completion. Or you may schedule more concrete progress payments based on indications that pertain to the particular scope of work, or the job or services provided. No matter the system you use, advance payments on larger jobs can significantly minimize your exposure to financial risk. Extending credit. Most of the times, there's no need to extend credit to consumers unless you provide a service such as bug control that's regularly billed monthly or a major contract that is finished in phases. As a basic rule, when a transaction is complete, you should be paid completely. Having said that, when it comes to business sales, business clients will usually want some type of credit on a revolving account basis, like 30, 60, 90, or sometimes 120 days after delivery of the item or completion of the service. Ideally, you want to be paid as rapidly as possible, so you may want to offer a 2% discount rate if billings are paid within 1 week. And if you do extend credit, make certain to perform a credit check first, particularly when large amounts of cash are at stake. There are 3 significant credit reporting agencies serving the United States and Canada: TransUnion, Equifax, and Experian. All 3 credit bureaus assemble and maintain credit files on almost everyone, business, and organization that has ever applied for credit. Debt collection. It doesn't really matter how mindful you are when it comes to extending credit opportunities to customers because still, from time to time, you will not be paid on time or at all. What can you do to make money? The first rule of earning money is to keep the lines of communication open with your delinquent client and keep the pressure on to get paid through the usage of non-threatening phone conversation, letters, and personal visits. You cannot legally daunt clients into paying you, but you can explain why it is their benefit to pay you, namely, to keep your business relationship intact. That non-payment can hurt their credit score, or that you could sue them if they don't pay. One other alternative is to hire a debt collection agency to collect the outstanding debt. Debt collection agencies generally charge a portion of the overall amount owed as their fee, which can vary up to as much as 50%. The Association of Credit and Collection Professionals is a good beginning point for finding a collection agency to work with. And your final choice is to take the delinquent account to small claims court. But remember that small claims courts have limitations regarding how much you can demand in your state or province, varying from $1,500 to $25,000. Filing fees differ by state and province also, and these should be paid in advance. Still, if you win, the costs are contributed to your award. As a rule of thumb, small business owners that take people to court for non-payment typically represent themselves, as the amount of their potential award is typically small and does not validate attorneys' fees and expenditures. Even if you win, you won't necessarily be paid the amount you're awarded. You might win a judgment, but you still have to chase after the offender through garnishment of salary or seizure of assets to make money. You can learn more about the small claims court process and filing charges by calling your local courthouse. Chapter 3. Marketing abilities that every online marketer needs. Marketing is a thriving market. Over the past 30 years, it had to keep up with technology innovations the exact same way. The experts need to continuously refine our marketing skills. To survive the difficulties of online marketing, brands really need to remain in step with the current patterns, and that's where advertisers can be found. However, it's not a simple thing to do. Think about Steve Jobs or Seth Godin, some of the best in the field. What do they have in common? They comprehended marketing as about wearing many hats, and that there's more to it than just selling. So we came up with a kick-ass list of necessary marketing abilities and why you should master them. Why having the right marketing abilities matters. Will marketing ever disappear? I ain't got no crystal ball, but I honestly doubt it. And here's the thing. With everything turning to digital, when it comes to marketing, we've got more ways to prosper and more ways to flop. To make sure we decrease our chances of failure, we really need to know our target audiences inside out. Ad Contrarian sums it up happily. Here's what people want. They want items that work well, look nice, taste good, and are reasonably priced from businesses that treat them relatively. To give people what they desire, we really need to know what we're doing. That is why sharpening those marketing abilities should be a top priority for anybody in the industry aiming to step up their game. Without more mentions, let's dive in. The marketing skills you need to master. Whether your focus is on video marketing, email marketing, SEO, content marketing, social media, lead generation, or sales, without the right marketing skills, you're on a shortcut to suffering. Number 1, customer knowledge. Nowadays, when purchasers are in the driving seat, you just can't manage not knowing who your customer is. Comprehending consumers' needs and pains are the answer to developing effective services and products people really love purchasing. And once you have everything clear, you'll be able to see the bigger picture, what marketing platform to use, what kind of message gets the best results, etc. Here are 3 questions that should be answered. What are your audience's values? What is their background? What problem is their product or service trying to resolve? Not knowing your customers well enough means wasting time on marketing campaigns that won't get you or your client anywhere. Number 2, storytelling. LinkedIn found out that around 8% of all advertisers on the platform have storytelling in their list of skills on their profile. Everyone likes a pretty good story. A marketer's job is to use data and numbers and turn them into authentic stories of what's happening with a brand. They typically do this with blog site content creation, paid social, book marketing, and even ebooks. However, not just sharing what the brand name has done. What happens if you're telling a bad story? Chances are people will ignore and stop being concerned about what you're selling. Number 3, creativity. Think of all those meetings where CEOs and company owners shoot down any marketing idea that sounds risky or just different. Personally, I'm not too excited about it. You most likely dislike it as well. Just because this goes without saying, the finest contemporary marketers are highly creative. And yes, there may be days when you'll spend more time organizing schedules, planning budgets, and going over deadlines than creating content. But make no error, marketing is really about creativity. Looking at ideas and creating new ways to make them better is an important marketing skill, or you can always use ready-to-go HTML email design templates. Number 4, handing over. Whether you're new to marketing or you're currently banging your way to the top, the truth is it's a demanding marketing job, which makes delegation a pretty important marketing skill. You should have a plainly specified set of responsibilities for each member of your team, and make sure the jobs are done in time. Learning to entrust them to the right people is going to make your life easier. Number 5, copywriting. This is a different marketing skill that surpasses saying, it does not matter how glossy the design of your copy is if it says nothing. Tell your audience exactly what they will get when they buy from you, and you'll win them over. You know what works with writing whenever? The KISS approach. Keep it simple, stupid. Ensure the messaging is easy, get by the audience, and keep away from long, difficult-to-follow sentences, words with a lot of syllables, industry buzzwords, and lingo. Number 6, listening. We all understand, from experience, that feeling of that frustrating individual in our lives who cannot wait for other individuals to speak before venturing into the discussion again, and that's why we keep away from them. Listening and taking note of what people around you say will help you make better decisions as a marketer. Do not just wait for the speaking with end so you can talk. A clever online marketer concentrates on the speaker and asks questions when there is a room for explanation. Communication skills are very important in most jobs, but it is truly essential in a marketing role. Number 7, team effort. Marketers aren't lone wolves. Their career or job involves working together not only within the marketing team, but also across several teams to complete their projects. They work hand in hand with people from sales, financing, customer care, and IT departments, among others, to get closer to the end outcome. Simply because with partnership, the sum is greater than the parts. Being a good team player is essential marketing ability because teamwork is what separates the good from great businesses. Number 8, adaptability. Whether it's a new project, client, or trend, the best advertisers adjust and evolve. Projects can vary from month to month depending on your clients. Patterns come and go. So if you are stagnating forward, you're falling back. The best thing advertisers can do is to keep up with new tech, stay flexible, and not drag their feet. Number 9, social network management. According to HubSpot's social network stats, 97% of marketers are taking advantage of social networks marketing to reach their audiences. Comprehending the way each platform works is part of the job. Whether you need to build communities, join social conversations, or develop marketing plans, dealing with social media tools is an essential marketing skill. Number 10, crisis management. The deal with crises is they can strike anytime. The client you're working with determined to take legal action against you. 5 of your 10 staff members revealed they're quitting. One of your brand name's products created a health issue. Boom. Rule number 1, do not assume it will never ever happen to you. Rule number 2, have a crisis plan. Problem-solving abilities are key if you want to be an excellent marketer. Number 11, time management. Marketers manage several balls in the air, and none can be dropped. Most of the time, they're dealing with some projects, whether writing a script or developing a landing page. Time management abilities are what helps them stay on track and not miss due dates. Dealing with schedules, content calendars, design templates, describes, and intricate plans are important. Number 12, SEO. We couldn't concur more with what Jeff Hayden told Inc. We are running in a time where just marketing as an ability is becoming a product and isn't really taken seriously. Everybody who runs their own Instagram account can say they're a marketer, even if they have nothing to back it up. People can pack keywords in an extremely written short article and call themselves search engine optimization (SEO) experts. If your job is to boost online search engine visibility, then make it right. Focus on organic rank. Number 13, graphic design. We hear you. So I really need to be a designer now also? Well, maybe a part-time one. At the very least, that is what Buffer suggests. What you have to do is understand some basic principles like UX design. Look at a service or product and make certain it's easy to use. Image modifying and video production skills. The technical knowledge can make a huge difference. Number 14, decision making. The marketing world is a fast-paced one. Making decisions and sticking to them is vital simply because they connect to project goals and essential performance signs. The best guidance one can give you is to not make decisions based upon your gut impulses. Test everything. Presume absolutely nothing. Number 15, research. A huge part of marketing is research. Whether you are looking for clients, marketing tools, influencers, competition, product ideas, etc., first, there is always research. The ability to research, plan, and effectively plan campaigns is a marketing ability you need so as to hit goals. Number 16, analytics. Listen up. In marketing, numbers matter. Taking a data-backed technique is the only way to effectively carry out projects, find research answers, test new marketing methods, and respond in real time to benefit from appealing opportunities, explains Brandwatch. Google Analytics is one of the most important tools in this day and age. When it comes to marketing analytics, you really need to ask good questions. Data analysis is a very critical marketing ability in a marketing automation age. Number 17, foster relationships. Marketing is about cultivating meaningful relationships with customers. Here are some tips from the Digital Marketing Institute on how to promote quality social interactions, both online and offline. React to social network grievances with empathy. Write authentic reactions. Identify new profit chances by studying your client's online conduct. Sign off with your name when replying to comments on social networks. Look for chances where you can assist an influencer online. Determine consumer problems developing repeatedly and produce solutions. These important abilities will come in handy for anybody in the industry who wants to provide results. However, when it comes to the finest marketers, it's their development state of mind that sets them apart. Polishing your marketing skills. Top industry experts are constantly on a mission to enhance their marketing abilities. Marketers are expected to wear many hats, but at the end of the day, the job is all about getting in touch with people in a human way and enhancing relationships. If you want to make your clients feel, think, and act, fixate on upgrading your marketing abilities. Chapter 4, Essential Marketing Abilities. While successful advertisers can show a wide range of traits, we have identified 11 marketing skills that actually stand out today. Today's essential marketing skills. In general, today's highly successful advertisers are revenue-driven marketers. Know their customers and markets. Create impressive customer experiences. Are great storytellers. Test everything and presume nothing. Never stop acquiring new marketing tricks. Use data to make decisions. Enjoy dealing with technology. Manage their work according to a schedule. Write very, very well. Deliver specific, recognizable results. Revenue-driven marketing. Marketers who have the capability of driving profits tend to grow in their careers. That's just because most CEOs believe that marketers are detached from corporate business objectives. A current study by the Fournaise Marketing Group highlights this issue. 78% of CEOs think marketing isn't concentrating on producing top-line income growth. And 80% of CEOs believe marketers are detached from brief and long-lasting monetary objectives. Marketers who can connect their efforts to enhancing income flourish in an environment like this. Know your market. The success of a marketing company depends on its ability to understand its target audience. The online marketer who can understand and effectively articulate what clients and rivals are doing has a foundational marketing ability. Being the voice of the customer is specifically important to a firm. Advertisers who can collect both quantitative and qualitative data about customers and present that information to executives in a tactical manner are really important. Another point, this is not almost collecting data by means of studies. Direct conversations with customers are critical to this effort and typically more valuable than survey data. Develop exceptional customer experiences. Today's most successful advertisers develop amazing experiences for clients. Thanks to the internet, there are now many more points of interaction between a customer and a brand name today. These interactions are growing richer and richer, and it's marketing's job to create and manage these experiences. Online marketers who can develop experiences that really resonate with consumers are uncommon, but those that can deliver business results that go far beyond the norm. End up being a writer. A big part of creating a remarkable consumer experience is telling a really good story. It's harder than ever to get a customer's attention. That's why marketers such as Seth Godin believe that storytelling is critical to effective marketing. Online marketers must be good storytellers for the simple reason that consumers relate to engaging stories more than anything else. Most effective marketing projects narrate that clients relate to on an emotional level. Marketers who can tell great stories to clients by means of a variety of marketing campaigns are important in a world where attracting a consumer's attention can be tough. Test whatever, assume nothing. Many advertisers make decisions based upon their gut impulses, but with the wealth of data readily available to them, this does not need to be the case. Good marketers are constantly evaluating things like new marketing projects, ad copy, and prices to turn data into business results. Thankfully, certain tools such as online marketing platforms and SaaS tools are now readily available, making screening much easier than ever. This is an example. Basic A/B tests will help you check the effectiveness of relative offers, copy, and design. Never stop learning. Marketing is changing at a quick rate thanks to the dynamics like the web and changing client conduct. That means that advertisers have to learn faster than ever. Something as simple as learning has become a necessary marketing skill. Thankfully, there is a wealth of info available online that can help advertisers find out about new marketing patterns. Lots of the world's best marketers are actively blogging and tweeting the current data and information. LinkedIn is another powerful tool for obtaining marketing knowledge. Examples of subjects to learn about now include social media, content marketing, big information, and mobile marketing. My co-founder, Greg Rosenberg, puts the significance of constant learning that way. Self-educate as much as you can. The marketing you learn in school or in books is much different than how marketing actually works. You should read blog sites, white documents, participate in webinars, go to online and offline training. Even CMOs spend a lot of time educating on marketing. You can never know enough. Using client data to make choices. Advertisers can now access a tremendous amount of information. As a result, firms are able to comprehend their clients far better than before. Marketers who learn how to collect and examine client data in an effort to make better choices will be in very high need for decades to come. Whether this data is used to simply understand the market or to produce and enhance more efficient marketing campaigns, most employers are searching for people who are skilled at using data. A background in statistics, deep knowledge of Excel, and a grasp of analytics tools are valuable abilities in this area. And do not forget that some of the important client information comes in the form of one-on-one conversations with customers. Become a marketing technologist. Gartner forecasts that by 2017, marketing will spend more on technology than the infotech group itself. That means that marketers who are proficient with typical marketing applications and systems will prosper. This does not mean that you need to be an engineer to succeed, but you do need to be able to use many of these applications as a business user. Commonly used marketing innovations include CRM, marketing automation, email marketing, marketing analytics, and a variety of emerging online marketing innovations. Manage to a schedule. Successful marketers use schedules and project strategies to guarantee that they finish their work in a timely fashion. Many of the work in a marketing company is deadline-driven. This is an example. Marketing projects have lunch dates that everybody working on the campaign concentrates on. Good marketers work back from the launch date and develop a schedule that guides the work they do. They also treat those launch dates like Bible, doing every little thing they can do to make sure they launch on time. Discover how to write. Many marketers ignore the significance of writing, but copywriting is just one of the most essential skills that an online marketer can have. It's the foundation of practically every marketing campaign. From advertisement copy to emails to landing pages, copywriting is a relatively fundamental skill that can have an outsized influence on conversion rates. It also happens to be the foundation of the massive amount of internal communication that marketers should manage inside their company. Provide specific, identifiable outcomes. Finally, marketing has progressed into a field where marketers should deliver results. Whether it is a lift in brand awareness, creating a particular number of qualified leads, or delivering profits, marketing is now on the hook to perform. Effective advertisers concentrate on providing results that share 3 characteristics. First off, the results they provide can be easily identified and understood by the business. Second, they deliver results that have an influence on the business, normally on the income side of things. Third, they provide these results on a monthly basis. Chapter 5. How to improve marketing skills. An online marketer's job is never, ever done. There is always more content to develop, more marketing material to market, and more ways in which we can generate leads and funnel to sales. It's a busy profession. In spite of all of this, or perhaps because of it, there is no reason to let your marketing abilities fall by the wayside. Just as there is always more we can do strategically, there's more we can do to sharpen our abilities. Keeping your marketing prowess is as vital to your profession as keeping devices is for the manufacturers. Here are actions I advise to cultivate your marketing mastery. 1. Practice your writing skills. The first step to keeping your writing sharp is wait on it to keep writing. Learn how to set a tone for a range of target personalities. Finesse your abilities to the point at which you can adapt your writing to various audiences and prosperously engage new demographics. You can accomplish this by reacting to writing triggers or rewording content that you encounter on the train, in the newspaper, at your kid's school. For different demographics, try a new one every day. Consider taking a composing class. Structure can help if you're vulnerable to procrastination or having trouble finding triggers on your own. But be patient. Efficient writing abilities take time and a lot of practice. Some specialists keep an individual blog or even just an individual scrapbook for motivation in the office to produce copy for e-blasts, landing pages, and other content marketing material. 2. Stay up to date with market patterns. When you take in more examples of convincing market copy, you'll be better positioned to develop similarly compelling content. There are countless other blogs and publication outlets to follow across the web. Just find the ones that appeal to you or are tailored to your industry. Take several minutes every morning or week to read up on what is new. Firms often test fresh hypotheses and best practices consequently change, so we suggest subscribing to email newsletters, Click on this link for our favorite ones on the manufacturing market. Keeping an eye out for these developments gives you time to adjust and prosper when others may struggle and fall behind. Always keep the following aspects of marketing in mind: content marketing, SEO, social media management, email marketing, list building, relationship building, bridging, sales, and marketing. 3. Test yourself. Inbound marketing, inbound sales, and HubSpot accreditations will check your knowledge of the incoming marketing method that's critical to effective marketing today. 4. Discover skills beyond marketing. To make yourself really indispensable as a marketer, you should study some added subjects: coding, customer psychology and contact, data. While your marketing agency probably has departments that focus on each of these areas, it's never a bad idea to have a firm grasp yourself. Understanding how different parts of the department work will help you communicate to these groups better and comprehend how their objectives can work with yours. This has been Business Skills, Finance, Money Management, and Marketing. Written by Nathan Sides. Read for you by Chloe Jacobson. Copyright 2020 by Nathan Sides. Production copyright by Nathan Sides. Business Skills, Project Management, Leadership, and Startup Knowledge. Written by Nathan Sides. Read for you by Chloe Jacobson. Chapter 1. Effective Business Communication Abilities. Effective business communication skills are crucial to successful coworker and customer interactions. Both the speaker and the listener share responsibility of making the message clear. But effective communication goes far past basic speech and hearing. Body language, intonation, the words you choose, message information, and communication style all entered play and can make the difference between success and failure in interpersonal transactions and interactions. Efficient speaking skills. Speakers should learn how to articulate their message in a way the listener can understand, providing it in a way that is consistent with the message itself. Serious issues are best delivered in a very serious tone, but with regard to the recognized or potential reaction of the listener. The response of the listener to both good or bad news can be directly controlled by the speaker, provided that the word choice and delivery are carefully considered. One part of efficient speaking is understanding your listeners and how they may react, or providing your message in a generic style if the listeners aren't known. Active listening by both speaker and listener. Active listening is practiced by both speaker and listener in effective communication. Active listening on the listener's part involves eye contact, nods, gestures, and quick comments to show understanding. On the speaker's part, these gestures and remarks are clues to the listener's reaction and understanding. If the listener appears confused, the speaker may reevaluate the wording or delivery of the message, and listeners should take it upon themselves to ask questions, confirm what's being said, and supply input if necessary. Asking open-ended questions. Questions asked by both the speaker and the listener should be one of the open-ended type. Those that can't be replied by a yes or no. Open-ended questions encourage more communication, dialogue, and understanding, and can help all involved in the discussion to further examine and clarify the message. Acknowledging and figuring out body movement. Acknowledgement and analyzing body language is both an art and a science. Eye movement and contact, position, posture, facial expressions, fidgeting, and other body language can at times give clues to the speaker and listener alike. If the tone of a speaker's voice is calm, but his facial expression or posture is tense, the message can be confusing to the listener. On the other hand, a listener who fidgets or doesn't make eye contact can give the speaker the impression that the listener is tired or not focusing. Choosing communication methods. In the modern-day business world, people communicate by text, phone, email, written correspondence, and verbal communication. In effective communication, you must choose the communication approach best fit for the message. Business people who are articulate speakers may not be articulate writers, so the message in email and written correspondence can at times be misunderstood. The exact same goes for authors who can craft detailed communications in written form, but choke when it comes to explaining in words. Learning how to be eloquent with all forms of communication approaches may not be the simplest job, but the reliable communicator knows her constraints and chooses the medium to match the message. Chapter 2. Important Delegation Skills for Workplace Success. Being able to delegate is important for every supervisor or supervisor. Supervisors need to be able to trust workers with obligations while still making sure that work is done very well. In a work setting, delegation typically means the transfer of responsibility for a task from a manager to a subordinate. The choice to delegate is usually made by the manager, though sometimes a worker will volunteer to take on a broadened role. Delegation can also happen when there is a less official chain of authority. This is an example. A member of a peer group who has been designated as a leader of a team may hand over tasks to peers in the group. What are delegation skills? Most of the time, good managers know how to accomplish each task needed by the team. Better managers know that they should not try to finish every task for two reasons. First, they know that it is highly likely that each staff member could do most of those jobs also or better. And second, great supervisors understand that they should not overwhelm their own schedule by micromanaging. Leaders that know how to manage will always delegate. They learn how to manage their own fret about whether or not their group members are dependable. They know how to advise their group members in a way that makes members feel empowered to achieve the jobs needed of them. Delegation does not necessarily suggest a transfer of complete responsibility. This could be, a supervisor may ask a subordinate to hire an administrative assistant, but the supervisor will still examine the actions the subordinate takes to achieve the job and provide assistance. Types of delegation abilities. Communication. Managers really need to be able to communicate clearly with their employees when entrusting. They need to explain why a staff member has been designed a task, what the task is, and what the expectations are. All of this requires clear, effective oral and written communication abilities. Listening is also an important communication ability to use when delegating. You need to listen to any questions or issues of your staff member and ensure he or she understands your expectations. Appropriately clarifying job guidelines, specifying expectations, paraphrasing, active listening, oral communication, written communication, quickly correcting miscommunication. Providing feedback. While handing over means giving a project to somebody else, this doesn't actually mean you aren't responsible. You need to check in with the worker specifically at the end of the task to make certain the goals are met. Offer clear feedback on what they did well, what they dealt with, and why. That will help the worker perform jobs even better the next time. Efficiency assessment. Mentoring, coaching, management, negative reinforcement, positive reinforcement, management. Time management. Though another person is doing the job, you will still need to be reliable at handling time. You really need to give clear due dates and checkpoints to the worker and hold that staff member accountable. That also requires that you plan whom to delegate to well beforehand. All of this requires organization and time management. Time budgeting, scheduling, creating turning points, knowing when to jump in and help, responsibility, quality assurance, assessment, training. Usually when handing over, you'll need to make certain your staff member or peer has the skills and abilities necessary to perform the task. This might require some training before delegating. A pretty good supervisor knows how to effectively train his or her workers in a new task or skill. Some jobs need a supervisor's insight and expertise. Before they start entrusting, supervisors need to examine jobs to identify if it makes sense to pass them along to a subordinate. Another delegation job that supervisors take on is recognizing outside resources, whether it's innovation or other firms that can help with daily jobs, determining high-value activities, assessing the strengths and weaknesses of employees, creating rewards, skill management, promoting, creating job descriptions, hiring, researching offered training tools, outsourcing, cooperation, trust. Often, supervisors do not entrust just because they don't trust their workers to do as good of a job as they would. A pretty good supervisor trusts the skills of his or her workers. She sets out clear expectations and offers feedback, but she doesn't micromanage while the worker works on the job. Trust is key to efficient entrusting. Recruitment, teamwork, management, facilitating group discussion, agreeing on roles that take advantage of individual strengths. Building agreement, generating perspectives from unwilling team members, not quickly upset, able to detach from their own strong feelings, recognize systematic problems. More delegation skills. Human being resources, sensitivity to ethnic and religious backgrounds, productivity software, analyzing issues without assigning blame, conceptualizing, jeopardizing, specifying equally acceptable roles, documenting team progress, diligence, analytical abilities, emotional stability, recognizing and rewarding group accomplishments, creativity, critical thinking, problem solving, innovation, organization, problem sensitivity, mediation, strength, conflict resolution, emotional intelligence, integrity, motivation, discretion, negotiation, team building. Chapter 3. Tips for improving your business communication abilities. You know that good communication abilities are vital to rise to the top in business. Communication skills can endear you among your peers, raise your value amongst your superiors, and trigger you to be appreciated amongst the ones that are subordinate to you. So how can you help them to meet your true potential? Here are some valuable ideas for improving your business communication abilities. 1. Practice your listening skills and your focusing skills too. When others are speaking, are you truly listening? We usually confuse listening with being silent, but just because you aren't talking while others are talking does not mean you're actually listening. Learn to shut off your own internal dialogue and truly tune into what others are saying. It usually helps to repeat what you've heard so that you know you are concentrating. And they know it also. 2, team up, don't dictate. Lectures, monologues, and ramblings don't belong in business interactions. If you find you're speaking more than a few moments, other than when giving a discussion or leading a presentation, stop. Streamline what you're trying to say as much as possible. Enable others to offer their input on the problem. Communication is all about give and take, not dictating how things are going to be or how you think they should be. 3, take notice of how you spend your free time. You most likely didn't expect this to be on the list. What do the television shows you watch, the important things you need, and your hobbies have to do with business communications? Well, the answer is twofold. First, they have the potential to expose you to new perspectives and essential present events that help you grow your business intelligence. Odds are that those that watch an hour of reality television daily aren't going to be as efficient in carrying a business-oriented discussion and those that spend their downtime reading business journals and networking with successful coaches. Second, You'll glean enormously beneficial ideas and insights from more intellectual pursuits than from watching or reading less helpful material at the time of your off time. 4. Invest in the right communication and collaboration tools. If you're depending on email and social media for your interactions, you're probably receiving a lot of pointless and redundant info, and perhaps losing out on the most important conversations. A collective tool like Vimaso is the ideal way to enhance interactions, work together on important projects, and build meaningful business relationships. 5. Do not wait too long to raise sensitive issues. Allowing a situation to build and fester is a recipe for a breakdown in communications. It's a lot easier, reliable, and more professional to resolve a problem as quickly as it pops up while it's in its infancy than to wait till it turns into a huge, ugly, upset beast. Most of the time, a quick, direct discussion can fix any interpersonal or professional problems without adversely affecting the relationship. 6. Learn how to have and use an excellent people memory. Is Sheila a morning individual, or is it better to approach her with an issue later in the afternoon? Does Samuel prefer a bagel when you swing by to pick up breakfast, or is he more of a sausage biscuit kind of guy? Is it Tuesdays or Thursdays that Becky needs to leave as quickly as possible to get her kid to the orthodontist appointment? Do these little specifics appear worthless to you? People are very important. When you can remember details about their personal lives, it shows that you look after them beyond their work. That promotes a much deeper, more significant relationship that will spill quickly into a better, more satisfying business relationship. As you can see, being a much better communicator sounds a lot like being a much better individual. Any personal improvements you make in your own life flow readily and progressively into your work life. Chapter 4. What are project management abilities? The abilities required to be an effective project supervisor are broadly relevant and relevant to almost each industry and most job roles. So, what are project management skills and how can you develop them? Defining project management skills. Project supervisors are accountable for more than their job titles might have you think. While they are certainly responsible for managing projects, that process generally includes planning the project from conception to execution, mapping out a timeline, executing each stage, creating, assigning, and handling the budget, interacting among all stakeholders, troubleshooting any concerns, providing and usually maintaining the end product or service. To do this efficiently, a project manager must be highly organized, detail-oriented, company-savvy with the capability to see how the project is connected to the company's overarching business goals, people-friendly with outstanding communication skills and the ability to inspire, resourceful to effectively manage risk, open to self-assessment and evaluation, according to the Project Management Institute. They are the real team leader and motivator, ensuring each stage of the process progresses and all pertinent parties depend on date and on board. There are many hard and soft abilities that make a project manager reliable, but let's look at some of the crucial abilities in more depth. Planning. It goes without saying, but proper project management requires knowledgeable planning on the part of the supervisor. This encompasses both the big picture plan and the minute that bring it to fruition. When it comes to creating the plan for the project supervisor will really need to specify the scope of the project, specify the resources needed to complete it, prepare for the time and financial requirements, produce a method for communicating routinely to stakeholders, draw up the steps needed for execution, and develop a schedule for completion. Get and store the necessary documents, and suggest a proposal for follow-up and upkeep. Actually, if the project has not been green-lighted yet, this plan will enter into the pitch to key decision makers. The project supervisor will also need to prepare the day-to-day management of the project, including focusing on each activity in each phase, recognizing the appropriate team members to talk with about each activity, and scheduling regular check-ins with pertinent staff. Management. Project managers are basically the team leaders. They are responsible for setting the vision for the team and making sure everyone is on board and motivated to bring the project through each phase. This requires being able to get buy-in from executives and also project group members, and making sure all workers have the time, tools, and other resources they need to get their job done. Interpersonal skills are a must. Communication. Going together with management abilities, outstanding communication abilities are critical to the success of any project manager. You really need to ensure all pertinent stakeholders depend on the current goings-on with the project, so as to keep them on board, ensure they understand any changes, and possibly head off any problems. This means creating a prepare for how and how frequently to touch base with them. An ability to speak and write obviously and concisely is necessary, as is a general approachability and openness to discussion. Many project supervisors have an open-door policy to facilitate this. Risk management. In a perfect world, your project chugs along without a drawback, and you produce your deliverable exactly as prepared. However, the world isn't perfect, and projects seldom come to fulfillment without, at the very least, one hiccup or change of plan. That is why, as a project supervisor, you need to be a master risk supervisor as well. That means having the ability to forecast what might fail and plan for it, as well as build versatility into your project plan to represent unexpected changes. Communicating frequently with stakeholders is specifically essential. Should any issues develop, you'll want to make certain the stakeholders comprehend why the issue took place, how it is being handled, and how you will prevent it from going on again. How can I develop project management skills? There are some ways you can develop project management abilities, namely, read. Get yourself a project management book and study up on your own. Remember that practice makes perfect, so don't forget to use your new knowledge on the job. Take a course. There are a slew of qualified project management courses from credible organizations that can enhance your skills. The Project Management Institute offers 8 different types of certifications, and other professional organizations around the globe offer added certifications that can help you develop your project management skills. Join a company. Organizations like PMI, the International Project Management Association, IPMA, and the Association for Project Managers can supply you with tools, resources, and a network of like-minded experts. Chapter 5. Top Skills Project Managers Need. I've made a list of the top 15 core abilities that I think project supervisors really need. These are the important things that should be part of your skill set because they will help you get the job done more efficiently. And for the avoidance of doubt, effectively means faster and with less effort. I certainly want that for my projects. Here is a list of the abilities project managers need. As you go through, think of which ones should be your focus areas for the coming year and how you're going to take your skills to the next level. 1. Management. Project leadership was a hot topic this year. Being able to lead your team and also manage them is a pattern that shows no indication of abating, and that's a good idea. It's truly critical to be able to motivate others, set the vision, and lead effectively. So if that's not your strength, willpower to work on it now. 2. Negotiation. It would be beautiful if everybody did what was best for the greater proficient at all times, but projects don't work like that in reality, do they? Project supervisors with good settlement skills will be an asset to their teams as they seek to resolve conflicts by finding the win-win circumstance for everyone. 3. Scheduling. It should go without saying that project scheduling is a core project management skill. Still, speaking with people who manage project managers at the time of end-of-year review time, I have heard that some of them aren't up to scratch in this area. Get to grips with project scheduling because A, it's your job, and B, it will help you deliver things more effectively for others, which is also your job. 4. Cost control. Budget management is bizarrely one of my preferred subjects. I'm not a natural mathematics whiz, but I do like a well-put-together spreadsheet. If I comprehend the numbers and develop my own tracking system, I can tell you to the penny how much my project is spending. Expense management is a critical subject for project managers. Those without this ability will be at a drawback because budgets are tight. You need to show that you can deliver your project within the cost restrictions and by handling the project finances intelligently. 5. Risk management. The more mature project management gets as a profession, the more we find ourselves doing projects that are special. The more routine the project, the more it is likely to get outsourced or given to a functional supervisor who shows an aptitude for getting things done. Job supervisors will work on the more intricate, transformative, unique endeavors that require good risk management. Having the ability to control risk as far as you can is a sign that you are on top of your project. Task sponsors dislike surprises, and good risk management is one manner in which you can manage that. 6. Contract management. Part of managing your project involves managing suppliers. The vast bulk of projects will have an aspect of supply, whether that is something as basic as the outside catering services who bring in cakes for your launch event, or a full-on offshoring system development firm. Contract management is about having the ability to actively manage those procurements. Previously, many project supervisors have been able to count on their financing departments to get this sort of work done, and legal teams for managing the terms of the deal. Today, with everyone under pressure to do more with less, it's falling to project supervisors to pick up the slack when it comes to procurement. 7. Critical thinking. Critical thinking is core to being able to make good choices. You need to weigh up the benefits and drawbacks of solutions to problems before selecting the proper way forward. This is what differentiates a project supervisor who is proficient at handling issues to a person who blows concerns out of the water each time. You can build your critical thinking skills through practice and by equipping yourself with tools and approaches to help you structure arguments rationally and see things from all angles before making the decision. 8. Communication. If I had to choose one skill on this list to fixate on this year, it would be communication. We do not do enough of it. Our stakeholders demand more of it. We struggle time and time again to meet expectations largely simply because we could not communicate effectively and typically. Think Get You Begun about the communication channels you have got available to you, including intranet, newsletters, emails, cooperation and social network tools, team meetings face-to-face, web and online conferencing. Then think of how you could apply each of these to actively serve your project next year. 9. Project healing. I hope you do not need to do project recovery next year, but if you happen to be trying to find a boost to your career, then demonstrating you know how to turn around a badly performing team and project will definitely set you aside from your peers. 10. Coaching. The majority of the people on your project team will not work for you, if indeed any of them do. That makes it really important that you're proficient at handling in a matrixed environment, but also that you are proficient at coaching. Why? Simply because they may not have much project experience and you'll have to coach them to top efficiency. If you are fretted about not being a great coach, you might be amazed to learn that coaching abilities are something that may be closer in reach than you expect. If you sit with a child throughout homework and help them come to the right answers, then you are doing a type of coaching. Some training in this area will help you to those abilities in the workplace to help your team perform their best. 11. Task management. This is another support task for project managers. You should be able to create a task list, delegate work to others, and continue top of development. I found this was the simplest part of project management when I began because I was naturally a list maker. If it does not come simple to you, you'll have to develop methods to ensure you are always on top of your to-do list. When you have cracked managing your own work, you can help others manage theirs. This is the best method in my experience to ensure that projects come in on time and others take responsibility for their deliverables. 12. Quality management. Quality management ensures that you provide a product that's fit for purpose. What project sponsor does not want that? Sadly, project managers usually don't spend enough time on the quality angle of their projects. It is one of those procedures and set of jobs that are overlooked as an administrative overhead. If you are a quality expert, then good for you. But if you aren't, seriously consider upping this on the top priority list for 2015. The better the quality of your deliverables, the better value you are offering stakeholders, and the more satisfied they will be. 13. Conferences management. How many of your conferences this year have overrun or finished with no clear action of being concurred? Just how much time have you wasted sitting in meetings just wondering why you were there and what time you can leave without it looking too bad? Or worse, how much time have you spent on teleconferences, only half listening while doing your emails or playing Candy Crush? Being able to sense when a conference is going off the rails and people aren't concentrating is a key ability for project supervision. It's helped by staying with the agenda, but it is also about being able to read the nonverbal communication of people in the room to check that you're getting through the material rapidly and adequately. Don't let 2021 become another year of wasted time in conference rooms. 14. Business case writing. With the ongoing focus on providing business value, being able to write a firm case or at the very least contribute one will be a really good skill to have. Acquire some design templates so that when you're asked to settle a firm case or valuation, you know what should be included. Find some business cases from past projects and assess what you would do differently. And make certain that your next project actually has a business case. That's really a good start. 15. Sense of humor. Making it through your projects mostly counts on a good sense of humor and the goodwill of associates prepared to pick up the slack or wait another 24 hours. A capability to see the amusing side of project management will keep you on an even keel throughout the next 12 months. Chapter 6. Develop your leadership abilities. The prospect of advancing to the top of somebody's field is what makes it possible for lots of people to keep plugging away at their jobs, developing their skills, and handling new projects. But after a specific point, career development depends on more than technical abilities and a determination to work hard. You also really need some soft skills, not the least of which is the ability to take on a management role. Some people are natural leaders, but anyone can develop the skill set needed with some practice. If you want to take your profession as far as it can go, then you need to be willing to put in the work. Here are 9 strategies to help you develop your management abilities and keep advancing your career. Practice discipline. A very good leader needs discipline. Developing discipline in your professional and personal life is a requirement to become an efficient leader and to motivate others to be disciplined also. Many people will judge your capability to lead by the amount of discipline you show at work. Show discipline at work by always meeting due dates, keeping consultations, and ending meetings on time. If you are naturally disordered, then you could have your work cut out for you. But you can always begin small. Try implementing good practices in the house, like waking up early and getting day-to-day exercise, and work your way up from there. Take on more projects. A great way to develop your leadership abilities is to handle more responsibility. You do not need to take on more than you can handle, but you do really need to do more than just what's covered in your job description if you want to grow. Getting out of your comfort zone is the only way you're going to learn anything new, and doing so will get you observed by executives as someone who takes effort. Learn how to follow. A real leader has no issue yielding control to another person when appropriate. You should not feel threatened when a person disagrees with you, questions your thinking, or presents ideas of their own. Keep an open mind and give benefit where benefit is due. It will not always be easy, but if you learn to value and respect others on your team, they will be more likely to step up to the plate for you. Develop situational awareness. A mark of a great leader is someone who can see the larger picture and expect issues before they take place. This is an important ability to have when managing intricate projects with tight deadlines. The capability to foresee and supply tips for staying away from potential problems is important for a leader. This capability also helps you recognize chances that others ignore, which will definitely earn you recognition. Inspire others. Being a leader means you become part of a group and motivate those you work with to work together as best they can. When a team member needs motivation or assistance, offer it. At times, all a person needs is someone to listen and be considerate. Keep learning. The best course to becoming a great leader is to always keep learning new things. It keeps your mind sharp and your skills fresh. It primes you for new difficulties that might come your way, which is always a good idea in a leader. Empower your colleagues. Nobody is the best at everything, and the quicker you understand that, the earlier you can learn how to be a good leader. Entrusting tasks to others not only frees you up for things you do well, it also empowers other individuals on your team. Solve conflicts. Do not be a supervisor from hell. Not everyone will get along all the time. Rather than ignoring social disputes, hoping they will disappear, address it by talking with those included independently. Also, be open to reassigning team members if the conflict can't be fixed. Be a discerning listener. Being a leader doesn't mean you always need to be in the spotlight. An essential quality of a pretty good leader is someone who listens to ideas and feedback from other individuals and builds on them. Good listeners know that communication is not only about words, but picking up on nonverbal cues, such as eye contact and nonverbal communication. Good management abilities are important to advancing your profession, but as you can see, management is a lot more than simply being in charge. As American statesman John Quincy Adams said, if your actions motivate others to dream more, find out more, do more, and end up being more, you are a leader. Chapter 7. What to think of when you start a business. Starting a firm can be a motivating idea, particularly for first-time entrepreneurs or employed individuals who are sick of the 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. job. It is encouraging to start a business when you think about the freedom of not working 8 to 9 hours a day in a restricted office, not needing to report to an employer, and the possibility of unlimited profit. Beginning a company is a very good choice. However, it can also be difficult, tough, and not as simple as it looks like. I have personally started many business ventures in the past number of years. Some have had a lot of success, and some didn't. Besides that, I'm also handling and dealing with the internal business process of various clients, and with that experience, I've seen many services grow while others close down. I know for a fact that many will begin a business, but only a few will last. 1. Nature of the business. The first thing you really need to think about is, what will you offer? What are you going to sell in your business? In general, you can choose to supply the following: service, merchandising, or production. Service. It can either be selling time and knowledge, such as specialists, events, organizers. IT, marketing, and so forth. Or it can also be restaurants, food kiosks, transport, beauty parlors, spa, and so on. Merchandising, also described as retail, wholesale, trading or circulation, buying and selling of goods. Examples are grocery and outlet stores, retail outlets, online resellers, and so on. Production, combining raw materials, labor, and use of equipment. Then turn it into a sellable product. Examples are manufacturers of vehicles, gizmos, clothes, bags, daily fundamentals, and so on. 2. Target customer. Having a service or product to sell isn't going to make you successful if you don't have clients who will buy it. If you prepare to begin a company and you know what to sell, before you start, study if there's a market for it. Determine who your customers are. Remember the saying, a product and services for everybody is services or a product for nobody. 3. Area. In many business events I've attended, I always hear this advice: area is everything. Place, area, location. Make sure you recognize or try to find the best location for your business. Your business must be seen by your target client, or at least near them. 4. Formation. Once you have determined what to sell, who to sell it, and where to sell it, now think about how you will form the business. You can choose on sole proprietorship, partnership, or corporation. Single proprietorship. You are the sole owner of the business. Collaboration. You can divide the business with another person, which you will call partners. You need, at the very least, 2 people to form partnership. Corporation. You can divide the business with another individual, which you will call stockholders. You need at least 5 people to form corporation. 5. Capital is the amount or value you really need to put in the business to get it up and operating. It can be money or non-cash. To know how much capital you really need, note down all of the possible spending you really need to make to start and run, such as assets to buy, restoration, lease payments, business expenses, etc. 6. Possession. Requirements when starting a business. Plan the assets that you'll really need to run. This might include the following example: computer systems, devices, furnishings, vehicle, etc. List down not only the item, but also the amount and cost. 7. Lease, renovation, and improvements. Next product to consider if you are going to lease a space. When leasing, normally, lessors require advance lease and security deposits, which amount to 3 to 6 months of rent. Additionally, rental space are usually bare and need renovation and improvements. Think about these expenses in your business plan. 8. Providers. Identity potential providers need to produce the service or goods you will sell. Consider their cost, place, reliability, and running hours. 9. Operating expenses. Identify and note down all of the expenses or costs you really need to operate the business, such as income, rent, office supplies, utilities, etc. Consider the monthly expenses in your business plan. That step is also essential in your capital requirement, simply because normally you have to keep at least 6 months to 1 year of regular monthly costs as capital. 10. Work with individuals or outsource. In my experience, people management is one of the toughest jobs of CEOs. That might be the reason that outsourcing is in demand. If you plan to begin a firm, include your completion if you're going to hire people or just outsource it. If you decide to hire, consider the income and other government policies you really need to abide by, such as Dole, SSS, PhilHealth, and Pagabig. If you consider to outsource, consider the proficiency and dependability of the company that you will contract out to. 11. Registration. After considering all the capital and expenditure requirement, before you begin running, ensure you have the registrations needed to legislate your business. At a minimum, you must have DTI or SEC, Bangaray, Mayor, and BIR. If your employees register to SSS, PHIC, and HDMF. 12. savings account for the business. Consider opening a bank account separate for your business. This is to streamline your record keeping and stay away from mixing your personal to your business, particularly if you happen to be a single proprietor. When choosing a bank, it must be accessible and readily available. 13. Marketing. Hardly ever a business will sell without a pretty good marketing plan. Marketing is just one of the essential elements why organizations succeed and why it fails. Choose the right marketing platform for your business. Federal government compliance. Another essential product to consider, but often overlooked, is the government reporting you need to comply with every month, quarterly, and each year. I've seen many businesses had success but later confronted with government charges as a result of disregard on this essential product. Federal government compliances include a minimum filing and payment of taxes, SSS, PhilHealth, PAG-IBIG contributions, and yearly payment of Bangaree and Mayor's authorization. 15. Accounting and financial analysis. Last but not least, when you begin a company, guarantee you have a dependable accounting and monetary reporting process in place. Accounting is the language of business. To know what is actually going on in your business, you should have a trustworthy accounting and monetary reporting system. Chapter 8. More things you need to do before starting your own business. Beginning a small business is no small choice. But despite the many sacrifices and difficulties small company owners face, an overwhelming 84% of small company owners would do it all over again. If you're thinking of starting and beginning a company of your own, there are some crucial steps you need to take first. These pointers spring from what I see successful entrepreneurs do and what I see those that lose not do. Here are the 10 things you really need to do before beginning a company. 1. Develop an effective message. What customer issue are you solving that potential customers want to pay for? This is often called the value proposal. Also, why will your business be operationally and financially successful? 2. Fixate on the consumer and completely understand the marketplace. There are many examples of businesses that do not have the best product or service or are not first to the market, yet are really successful simply because they have mastered internet marketing and sales. Research the demographics of your potential consumer base and understand their buying routines. Watch rivals, talk with comparable services, browse your competitors' websites and understand what their consumers are saying about them on social media. 3. Start little and grow. If possible, self-fund your business idea, and after that, go for financing when you can produce a growth story. This may trigger you to separate your product or service offering into smaller pieces so you can earn the money in early phases and get some traction and experience. 4. Understand your own strengths, skills, and time available. When running a firm, know when you really need to engage an accounting professional, legal representative, insurance coverage representative, marketing professional, website designer, or other professional. This will start your management process as a company owner. Consistent Contact offers a range of professional marketing services for those who need professional support or want to jumpstart their online marketing efforts. 5. Surround yourself with consultants and mentors. Introducing and growing a business is challenging, and the majority will struggle within 5 years. No one person can have all the knowledge, experience, and even perspective to deal with every business circumstance. Gain from other people's skills and experiences. 6. Write a company plan. Beginning a company is challenging and risky. It's easy to spend all your time and resources at it. Before you begin, find out what kind of business you will have. Will it be a sole proprietorship, collaboration, corporation, or LLC? Then, create your plan. Having actually a written plan with your projected results and personal goals is the best way to remain on track. As an example, your business may make a $20,000 profit. But if you live in a very large city, support a family and perhaps senior parents, and are trying to save for kids' college and retirement, then most likely $20,000 is not enough. A business plan will put your ideas in concrete terms and help you identify places to change the business model where needed. 7. Know your numbers. Have a really good grasp on the numbers that tell you how your business is doing and what you can expect. These include your startup expenses, sales, forecasted profits, capital, and a lot more, depending upon the nature of your business and how you specify success. You will be making many decisions on the fly, and knowing the numbers, the business economics, will help ensure you make the right choices. Search for ways to cut expenses where you can. Be sure to use cost-efficient tools like email marketing and social media to drive awareness, rather than more expensive traditional advertising techniques. 8. Understand there are no privileges. Don't ignore this one. You will work really hard for all your achievements. Being a small business owner is just one of the hardest jobs around. In a current study, 40% of small business owners said they don't take trips or have their cash bound in their business. 9. Have a real passion for what you're doing. Being a firm founder can be extremely lonely, and there are insufficient hours in the day to achieve everything. From big successes to big letdowns, if you're not fueled by enthusiasm at every step of the way, your job ends up being that much harder. Remember why you started your business and let your enthusiasm drive you continuously. When in doubt, do not go it alone. Just because you are taking your ideas and turning them into reality doesn't mean you really need to figure everything out on your own. There are plenty of online marketing tools readily available to make your job as a small business owner much easier. But tools aren't every little thing. To place yourself for success, you'll need to utilize the knowledge of those that are experienced in the small company world of the digital age. This has been Business Skills, Project Management, Leadership, and Startup Knowledge. Written by Nathan Sides. Read for you by Chloe Jacobson. Copyright 2020 by Nathan Sides. Production copyright by Nathan Sides. Business skills, delegation, communication, presentation, and problem solving. Written by Nathan Sides. Read for you by Chloe Jacobson. Chapter 1. The most important business communication abilities. Interaction is type in each aspect of life, but it is specifically vital in the office. Whether you're just starting out their first company or are farther along in your profession curve, there are specific business communication abilities necessary for success. What business communication skills and soft skills will help you work smarter? Here are 9 communication abilities every professional should master. Active listening skills. The capability to listen and integrate other views in your communication. Listening shows you value opinions outside of your own and are open to new ideas. Consequently, your audience views you as an equivalent partner, and you need to come to a solution that benefits the greater good. An active listener will enable stops briefly for interjections, repeat other individuals' words, and ask questions to verify his or her engagement in a discussion. Writing abilities. Using specific data and examples in written communication to make a strong case, and communicating proposed action items. Written communication for business should be short but helpful, and helps an audience concentrate on only the most important points. Good written communication also includes sufficient follow-up, which closes the communication loop and shows proactive activity to goals. Verbal abilities. The capability to communicate info, ideas, thoughts, viewpoints, and updates in a clear manner verbally. Like good written communication, good verbal communication in the office is also concise and particular. Researchers have found out that today's attention period totals up only to 8.25 seconds. Verbal communication permits employees to engage with each other in person and come to a mutually agreeable agreement. Interpersonal communication abilities. Building trust and strong relationships with essential stakeholders in a company, another soft skill. Successful social communication allows workers to find commonalities, show empathy, and build bonds with one another. Social communication means connecting on more than business levels, but on an individual level too. Teamwork skills. Successfully interacting with others who may have different viewpoints and capability. In a business setting, this means putting aside personal distinctions and working toward a common goal. For teamwork to be successful, all parties must recognize that combined efforts are well worth more than individual contributions. Presentation abilities. Presenting info and ideas to an audience in a way that's engaging, inspiring, and effective. This technique of business communication permits one person or a group of people to share evidence to support an idea or argument. A great speaker is also a very good storyteller, using information, stories, and examples to influence an audience to act toward a desired outcome. Selling abilities. Encouraging stakeholders to chase after an idea, decision, action, service, or product. Offering abilities extends beyond just the ones whose jobs fall under the sales department. Employees with selling abilities can use these skills to influence other employees to purchase into a product, team members to choose a side, or executives to offer new services or products. Negotiation abilities. Reaching an equally helpful resolution by understanding and leveraging the opposite side's motivations. A mutually useful or win-win resolution is one that both sides find beneficial and keeps positive relationships for future interactions. In order to accomplish this outcome, you will really need to discover what factors would be most prominent and acceptable from the opposite side. Networking skills. Displaying business value and motivating others to enter into your business network. In order to network effectively, you will need to be fascinating enough that others desire to partner with you in some way. A very large business network can also be a safeguard and means you have more people to rely on when you need help, info, or services. Do not feel discouraged if you don't have every business communication skill on this list. Very few do. Just like any changes in an individual's routines, mastering abilities that aren't force of habit require time, experience, practice, and patience. First and foremost, recognize which of these skills are your weakest, and then create a plan on how to improve these communication skills to work smarter and better. Chapter 2. The top ways your current communication tools are losing your time. The way we use communication tools in business today is riddled with ineffectiveness and disappointments. When you build up all of the time that we waste working around these inflammations, it makes you realize how long we spend looking for the information we need to do our jobs, rather than actually doing our jobs. A research study by McKinsey Global Institute in 2012 approximated that information workers spend 19% of their working week searching for and gathering information. Here's a list of 10 ways existing tools squander our time. How many of them do you suffer from? A colleague sent you some important info you needed. However, you cannot remember how they sent it. Was it posted on the internet? Sent in an email? In a chat on an immediate messenger? You search everywhere and finally find it in the last place you look. You've just joined a project that's already underway. The project manager sends you several long email conversations about development so far and open issues. You have to start at the bottom of each one and work your way up to comprehend the discussion, filtering out the regular off-topic diversions. You've been sent a file to examine. You review it and send back your comments. Ends up that the author has already changed the document based on other tribes' comments and you were evaluating an old version. You get an email from your colleague asking, "Did you get the message I sent out last Tuesday?" You trawl back through your inbox, spam folder, and recycle bin looking for it. You have been on a holiday. You return and find 600 new messages in your inbox. You spend all the time going through them and find that even after erasing all the spam, the majority of the messages that are left are parts of conversations that have been entirely fixed while you were away. You're on the train on the way back from a customer meeting and receive an important question in an email on your smartphone. You know you have got the answer in a document on your laptop computer, but you've lacked battery, so cannot get at it until you're back at the office. A week ago, you asked 10 people in your department to suggest approval of a new company policy. Some of them have done it, others haven't. You return through your email working out who has replied and send reminders to those who have not. You get an instant message from a colleague saying they've shared a document with you on a file sharing service. You go to the service and cannot see the document, so you write back saying you don't have access. Turns out they mistyped your email address when they shared it. You get a question from someone in the company you've never ever heard about. You are a little careful about how you reply just because you don't know them. So you ask who their supervisor is, and they don't know either. You write back politely asking who they are. You are out of the office. Your email app tells you your mailbox is full and can't get any new messages. You have to produce personal folders on your laptop computer and download all the messages from your inbox. However, you can't get a dependable connection to the company VPN, so you can't sort it out until you get back to the office. Chapter 3. Presentation Abilities. Providing info clearly and efficiently is a key ability in getting your message across. Today, presentation skills are required in almost every field, and most of us are needed to give presentations on occasions. While some people take this in their stride, others find it far more difficult. It is, however, possible to enhance your discussion abilities with a bit of work. That part is designed to help you. These can all be considered presentations. They do not, though, all require the same method. You would not, for instance, use PowerPoint to thank a coworker who was leaving. It would be unusual, though it has been done, to use it in a speech at a wedding event. Nevertheless, a conference audience would rather surprised not to see slides projected onto a screen. It follows thus that there is no single set of rules that apply to all presentations. There are, though, some things that each discussion chance shares. Those include, you will present better if you have prepared efficiently. That does not necessarily mean that you have drawn up your speech verbatim and practiced it until you know it off by heart, though that might work for some people. It does, though, mean that you need to be positive that you are saying the right thing, in the proper way, to the right people. You really need to be clear about your audience and your message. Every presentation will be better if you have plainly considered the message that you want or really need to convey, and how to best convey it to your audience. Those two pieces of information drive your style, structure, content, and use of visual helps. You should never overrun your designated time. Simply put, do not outstay your welcome. Practically each speech or presentation is better if it is much shorter. No one minds going for coffee early or completing before they expected to do so. Everyone minds being held up. Typically speaking, your audience begins on your side. As a rule, your audience is there more or less voluntarily. They have chosen to listen to you, and they want to enjoy your discussion. The occasion is yours to lose. When you present, you are actually in charge of the room. The audience has successfully handed you control and is sitting back waiting on you to do something. You may have prepared a certain talk, but if you see that it is not working, you can always change it. You are, after all, the professional. You can, for instance, skip through some slides to an area that they may find more intriguing. Ask your audience whether there is a particular info that they were expecting that you aren't providing. Suggest that everyone looks a bit drowsy and perhaps it would be better to begin questions early or have a conversation. Or ask the audience at the start of the presentation what they're expecting and what they want you to cover. This way, you can customize the presentation to fit their expectations. Just as when you are facilitating, you want to help your audience get the most out of your presentation. The best way to do that is to accept feedback, which could include smiles, nods of interest, or people getting their phones out. Quick guide to effective presentations. If you really need to improve your discussion skills quickly, then a really good place to start is with our top tips for effective presentations. This will give you some quick wins that will help you enhance your discussions. If you already are a skilled presenter, this page needs to be a helpful refresher and even take your abilities from good to great. Our suggestions include general ideas about connecting with your audience, info about the value of voice and body language, and detailed pointers about preparing slideshows. The most important suggestion of all, however, is to remember that it's all about your audience. Keep that in mind, and your presentation abilities will practically instantly enhance. Chapter 4. Ways to enhance your presentation abilities. One of the biggest lessons I've learned over the past few years is that to be a great speaker, it is key to develop a personal speaking style. Since I know I'm not the most significant speaker in the world, I make up for it by packing my discussions with passion, unique and proprietary information, and tons of beneficial content, and also lots of dumb jokes. We can't all provide the next Gettysburg Address, but there are lots of little things you can do just before your presentation that will help relax your nerves and set you up for a much better discussion. Here are my 20 best pointers to enhance your discussion abilities. 1. Practice. Naturally, you want to rehearse your discussion several times. While it can be tough for those with jam-packed schedules to spare time to practice, it's vital if you want to deliver a rousing presentation. I'm popular around the office for staying up late the night before a big discussion, practicing over and over. If you really want to sound great, draw up your speech instead of taking chances winging it. If you get anxious about speaking, a script is your best friend. Try to practice where you'll be delivering your talk. Some acting strategists suggest rehearsing lines in various positions, standing up, sitting down, with arms open broad, on one leg, while resting on the toilet, and so on. Okay, that last one could be optional. The more you blend your position and setting, the more comfortable you will feel with your speech. Do a practice run for a good friend or colleague. Or try taping your presentation and playing it back to examine which parts really need work. Listening to recordings of your past talks can clue you into bad routines you may be unaware of, as well as inspiring the olden question, is that what I truly sound like? True, transform nervous energy into passion. It could sound odd, but often I'm going to down an energy drink and blast hip-hop music in my earphones before providing. This is why it pumps me up and helps me turn jitters into focused passion. Research studies have revealed that a passionate speech can triumph over an eloquent one. And since I'm not precisely the Winston Churchill of presenters, I make certain that I'm as enthusiastic and energetic as possible before going on the stage. Of course, people respond in a different way to caffeine overload, so know your own body before guzzling those monster energy drinks. 3. Attend other discussions. If you are giving a talk as part of a conference, try to attend some of the earlier talks by the other speakers to scope out their presentation abilities and get some context. This shows respect for your fellow speakers, while also giving you a chance to feel out the audience. What's the state of mind of the crowd? Are folks in the mood to laugh, or are they a bit more stiff? Are the discussions more tactical or tactical in nature? Another speaker could also say something that you can play off of later in your own discussion. 4. Come early. It's always best to allow yourself lots of time to settle in before your talk. Additional time ensures you will not be late even if Google Maps closes down and gives you a lot of time to get adapted to your discussion space. 5. Adapt to your environments. The more adapted to your environment you are, the more comfortable you will feel. Make sure to spend some time in the room where you will be delivering your discussion. If possible, practice with the microphone and lighting. Make sure you comprehend the seating and be aware of any diversions potentially positioned by the place. Example, a noisy road outside. 6. Meet and greet. Do your best to talk with people before your presentation. Talking with audiences makes you seem more likable and friendly. Ask event attendees questions and take in their responses. They may even give you some motivation to weave into your talk. 7. Use positive visualization. Whether or not you're a Zen master, know that plenty of studies have shown the efficiency of positive visualization. When we imagine a positive result to a circumstance in our mind, it is more likely to play out the way we imagine. Instead of thinking, "I'm going to be dreadful out there," and picturing yourself tossing up mid-presentation, imagine yourself getting lots of laughs while providing the enthusiasm of Jimmy Fallon and the poise of Audrey Hepburn. The charm of George Clooney would not hurt either. Positive thoughts can be extremely efficient. Give them a shot. 8. Bear in mind that most audiences are sympathetic. One of the hardest fears to shake when speaking in public is that the audience is secretly waiting to make fun of your bad moves or mistakes. Luckily, this isn't the case in the vast bulk of presentations. The audience wants to see you be successful. As a matter of fact, many people have a worry of public speaking, so even if the audience appears indifferent, the chances are pretty good that the majority of people listening to your discussion can relate to how nerve-wracking it can be. If you begin to feel nervous, remind yourself that the audience gets it and actually wants to see you accomplish. 9. Take deep breaths. The go-to guidance for jitters has truth to it. When we're nervous, our muscles tighten. You may even catch yourself holding your breath. Rather, go ahead and take those deep breaths to get oxygen to your brain and relax your body. 10. Smile. Smiling increases endorphins, replacing anxiety with calm and making you feel good about your discussion. Smiling also shows self-confidence and enthusiasm to the crowd. And this idea works even if you are doing a webinar and people can't see you. Just don't overdo it. Nobody enjoys the maniacal clown look. 11. Exercise. Exercise earlier in the day before your discussion to enhance endorphins, which will help alleviate anxiety. Better pre-register for that Zumba class. 12. Work on your pauses. When you're nervous, it's easy to speed up your discussion and end up talking too fast, which in turn triggers you to run out of breath, get more nervous, and panic. Do not be scared to slow down and use stops briefly in your speech. Stopping briefly can be used to stress certain points and to help your talk feel more conversational. If you feel yourself losing control of your pacing, just take a good pause and keep cool. 13. Don't try to cover too much material. Yeah, your discussion should have plenty of beneficial, informative, and actionable information, but that does not mean you should try to condense a large and intricate subject into a 10-minute presentation. Understanding what to include and what to neglect is vital to the success of a good presentation. I'm not suggesting you skimp when it comes to information or consisting of beneficial slides. Some of my internet seminars have featured 80+ slides. But I'm promoting for a rigorous editing process. If it feels too off-topic or is partially appropriate to your bottom line, leave it out. You can always use the excess material in another discussion. 14. Actively engage the audience. People really love to talk and make their viewpoints heard, but the nature of discussions can usually look like a one-sided proposal. It doesn't need to be, however. Asking the audience what they think, inviting questions, and other means of inviting audience involvement can increase engagement and make attendees feel like a part of a conversation. It also makes you, the presenter, appear far more relatable. Consider beginning with a survey or questions. Do not be put off by unforeseen questions. Instead, see them as a chance to give your audience what they want. 15. Be entertaining. Even if your presentation is packed with useful info, if your delivery bombs, so will your session. I find that including some jokes and lighthearted slides in a good way to help the audience and myself feel more comfortable, particularly when presenting them with a great deal of info. Even so, it is essential to maintain a balance. After all, you are not performing a stand-up regimen, and people don't come to your presentation with the sole intention of being amused. Having said that, do not be scared to insert a little humor into your talk. If you're not sure about whether a presentation is too much, run it through for a few good friends and ask them to tell it to you straight. 16. Admit you don't have all the answers. Really few speakers want to publicly concede that they don't actually know everything because they feel it undermines their authority. However, since all of us know that no one can ever know every little thing about a given topic, confessing so in a presentation can actually enhance your relatability. If somebody asks an important question that puzzles you, it's all right to admit it. This can also increase your trustworthiness with the audience, as it demonstrates that no matter how well-informed an individual might be, we are all learning all of the time. No one expects you to be an omniscient oracle of forbidden knowledge. They just want to learn from you. 17. Use a power position. Practicing positive nonverbal communication is another way to enhance your presentation jitters. When your body is physically demonstrating self-confidence, your mind will follow suit. While you do not want to be jutting out of your chest in an alpha gorilla pose all afternoon, someone takes pleasure in the Dawn of the Planet of the Apes a bit too much. Research studies have shown that using power stances some minutes before giving a talk or heading into a big interview produces a long-lasting sense of confidence and guarantee. Whatever you do, do not sit. Sitting is passive. Standing or walking a bit will help you harness those stomach bats. Isn't that better suited than butterflies? 18. Drink water. Dry mouth is a typical result of anxiety. Stop cottonmouth blues by staying hydrated and drinking a lot of water before your talk. Just do not forget to hit the bathroom before beginning. Keep a bottle of water at arm's reach while presenting in case you get dry mouth while chatting up a storm. It also offers a strong object to toss at potential hecklers. That'll show 'em. 19. Join Toastmasters. Toastmaster clubs are groups across the country and the world devoted to helping members enhance their presentation abilities. Groups get together at the time of lunch or after work to take turns delivering brief talks on a chosen subject. The more you present, the better you'll be. So consider joining a Toastmaster club to become a superior orator. Just do not forget it's BYOB. Bring your own bread. 20. Don't fight the fear. Accept your fear instead of trying to fight it. Getting yourself developed by just wondering if people will notice your anxiety will only heighten your anxiety. Just remember, those jitters aren't all bad. Harness that nervous energy and change it into positive passion, and you will be all right. Chapter 5. Which of these management styles is right for you? There are numerous books, short articles, and even entire companies dedicated to providing leadership advice, each painting a much different image of the ideal leader. There's no single best technique, and even if there was, you can't push yourself to fit a certain mold, even if you've seen it work well for others. Leadership styles are inherently personal, and it all comes down to two elements: your unique character and what your team responds to. Given dozens of management styles, each based upon a much different set of abilities, philosophies, and personality traits, which one is the best fit for you? Use our infographic choice tree below to find your ideal technique. Then scroll down to find out more about your preferred leadership style. Find out more about your leadership style outcome. Management styles. Affiliative. You highlight teamwork. Motivate cooperation and help resolve disputes. You're the perfect leader when it's time to improve spirits, communication, and trust. And you help your team see the significance of their contributions to the bigger organization. Just take care not to place so much emphasis on applauding the group that any poor performance goes uncorrected. Management styles, autocratic. You are a strong leader who gets things done quickly and effectively, taking it upon yourself to make decisions and presuming responsibility for project outcomes. Your team can fixate on their individual jobs without taking on the responsibility of bigger choices, which can be especially efficient during high-stress projects. Just make sure you're not losing out on valuable input from members of your team by making unilateral decisions. Management styles, bureaucratic. You are a stickler for following rules and procedures to a T, and that makes your management style especially well fit for dangerous work where your group members could be hurt, or for projects involving a lot of cash. You work well within a hierarchy with plainly specified rules, roles, and duties, but you could struggle with creative projects where flexibility and change are the norm. Leadership styles, charming. You're enthusiastic and charming and find that others voluntarily follow your lead. As a charming leader, you care deeply about working towards the greater good and use your powers of persuasion to both improve the status quo and guide your team through issues or periods of crisis. You might tend to gloss over your mistakes, but they're valuable chances for enhancement. Management styles, coaching. You provide encouragement, motivation, and assistance to each person on your team, clearly defining everybody's roles and taking charge, while still seeking the input of your colleagues. Your team knows exactly what you expect of them, and you're very efficient when it comes to enhancing the performance and results of the groups you lead. However, beware. Unless an employee shows effort and wants your help with professional development, this method can begin to feel like micromanaging. Leadership styles, commanding. You're a no-nonsense, take-charge leader who drives results and instills a sense of urgency in your team, and you're particularly efficient throughout times of crisis. You expect your team to fall in line. You don't mind if they disagree with your directions as long as they follow them. Take care not to neglect your soft skills. Do not alienate your team or stakeholders, or disregard interpersonal relationships. A few words of encouragement or appreciation can work marvels for team spirits, engagement, and performance. Management styles, democratic. You may be the team lead, but every project is a cumulative effort. You look for ideas and viewpoints from your team and consider them all before coming to a decision. Your capability to adapt to new and better modes of working can also draw out the best in your team and make the most of their abilities. While taking multiple perspectives into consideration boosts team engagement and performance, understand that it also slows you down when timely decisions or actions are needed. Management styles, laissez-faire. You're an easygoing, hands-off leader, letting your team make its own decisions while providing support and resources when needed. Because of their independence and your rely on them, your team tends to have high worker satisfaction, and this management style is well suited for groups of highly skilled, motivated workers. Just beware that your team does not error your casual management style with apathy, or they could not stay engaged, manage their time well, or lack enough direction or knowledge to do the job right. Management styles, pace setting. You're driven to stand out, demanding more from yourself and those around you. You lead by example and would never, ever ask a member of your team to do something you are not willing to do yourself. You're also fast to leap in and offer assistance if you think it's needed. While you are committed to accomplishing results and consistent enhancement, your high standards can overwhelm your team. Don't forget to give plenty of positive feedback, be patient, and help your team learn new abilities. Leadership styles, servant. You lead by example with stability and generosity. Your leading priority is to identify and meet your team's needs and make sure each member has what they need to excel at their job. Routine check-ins with your team ensure their viewpoints and needs are acknowledged, though you're not afraid to correct errors or make an out-of-favor choice when needed. You could struggle in hierarchical companies where leaders are expected to be specifically reliable. Leadership styles, transactional. Your team knows precisely what's expected of them. After all, by taking the job, they've consented to follow your directions, and you're crystal clear about each staff member's roles and responsibilities. You are not a micromanager. In fact, when you delegate, the other individual is totally responsible for completing the job effectively. You have clear systems in place for both benefits and discipline, and your team is confident that they're assessed based solely on their abilities and contributions, not office politics. Leadership styles, transformational. Like visionary leaders, you inspire your team by creating a shared vision or aspirational objective. However, you see projects as opportunities to both accomplish short-range project goals and, on a larger scale, to develop positive change in how the organization gets work done. You have high emotional intelligence and value stability and expect the best of your team while also holding yourself to a high requirement of responsibility. Management styles, visionary. You develop a vivid image of your company or project's end goal in order to encourage and inspire your team. Because you comprehend that new insights and developments can originate from anywhere, even not likely sources, you're always looking for new information or viewpoints and bucking convention. As long as you attain your objectives, how you get there is secondary, so your team is free to experiment, take several risks, and be creative. Chapter 6. Crucial skills that managers will need to learn in the next decennium. The principles of management have not changed. You lead by example. You motivate team members to do their best work. You communicate well and usually. Having said that, the scenarios surrounding our work are constantly changing. Remote and global workforces, offshore outsourcing, and a relentless tide of technology and tools have changed the way we work and the abilities needed to manage our teams. Case in point, in 1997, as handling editor to a month-to-month lifestyle magazine, I was coordinating contributors by means of 3 archaic tools: phones, fax, and gasp, pager. At the time, appointments had to be made well in advance, and submissions by fax had to be re-encoded manually. Meetings were always done in person, and there was little exposure into what others were doing. The skills I needed then are still mostly beneficial, but I have had to learn much more so as to function within a contemporary startup. There is no doubt that an entire decade from now, managers will need abilities that our parents probably never even dreamed of. How do you prepare for that unseen future? Simple. You take emerging work trends and extend them forward several years, anticipating which ones have the strongest chance of staying. Then, you figure out what abilities you are going to need to navigate work within those trends. Here is my list of the 4 skills that managers will need to learn in the next decade. 1. Supervisors will need cross-cultural intelligence. Pattern. Workplaces are becoming significantly varied. Companies of all sizes continue to expand to overseas areas or engage in overseas outsourcing. Skill needed. Managers are being called not just to understand cultural differences, but also have the ability to change to different habits as the circumstance dictates. Cultural intelligence, CQ, like emotional intelligence, EQ, is a reasonably new method of understanding ourselves and, in turn, our colleagues. Author Julia Middleton explains in her book Cultural Intelligence that CQ can be broken down into 2 parts. Our core, the habits we won't change for anyone, and our flex, those habits that we change when needed. Supervisors will really need to learn how to use their flex side in an idea called cultural code switching. Having the ability to mix with a society as needed and even take part in habits that could contravene in civilization they grew up with. For instance, giving feedback straight as opposed to covering with humor, or being a more present boss rather than letting the team self-organize. The supervisor's aim should be to concentrate on the result and think of modifying your behavior as a means to meeting your team's end. 2. Supervisors will really need virtual collaboration skills. Trend. As organizations source skill from around the world, remote workforces increase. According to Reiki's remote work survey of 1,000 staff members, 80% of respondents handle remote workers each day, either dealing with distributed colleagues or as remote workers themselves. Ability needed. Supervisors should be able to lead their groups and engage with individuals effectively, no matter where in the world they may be stationed. While face-to-face conferences could stay the norm for firms that exist in only one brick-and-mortar area, it is becoming progressively typical to hold meetings online or in shared virtual areas. That means supervisors can no longer presume that participants are all on the exact same page, and communication skills must be updated to ensure no misunderstandings happen. Besides, this involves learning the innovation needed to communicate effectively. 3. Supervisors need to adapt to new technologies. Trend. New innovations appear daily, which includes innovations that may work much easier or that fundamentally change the way we work. Ability needed. The speed with which new innovations appear requires supervisors who are flexible enough to learn new tools and include them into daily use. For example, marketing is an industry where tools are created at the speed of need. While jumping on the bandwagon isn't a formula I'd suggest, it does pay to experiment with new tech, discover what works, test which ones make your time more efficient, assemble your toolkit of essential tools, and keep it updated. 4. Managers will need to deal with information overload. Pattern. Info overload is a very real thing, especially in our modern work environment. There is a limit to the amount of stuff our minds can process, aka our cognitive load. Ability needed. Managers who want to prosper in the next decennium must have the ability to manage this bulge of data and extract the useful bits from the sound. For instance, they will need to differentiate emergencies amidst the huge influx of messages in their email inboxes. They will need to focus on work that provides the most value, even with a huge number of mixed signals from stakeholders. They will need to be tactical, despite all of the pings and notices that will have them going to put out fires. They will really need to be masters at concentrating on time management and focus if they mean to be successful at work and at life. What do you see in your crystal ball? If you tie all 4 skills together, the unifying theme is constant learning and versatility. If you are flexible enough to take what comes and happy to educate yourself on how best to adjust, then the future holds no overwhelming surprises for you. Chapter 7. Issue-solving abilities every business owner must have. Problem-solving skills are extremely essential in life and more so in business. No matter your profession, industry, or living style, solving issues is part of daily life. Firstly, who is a business owner? They are individuals who turn ideas into reality and consequently are really important in our society. The entrepreneurial journey is riddled with ups and downs, and my capability to resolve problems has given me great success in business. The problem-solving skills have developed and improved in time through experience and hearing about the experiences of other entrepreneurs, one of the reasons that we created the Lonely Entrepreneur Program. How to develop issue-solving abilities. When it comes to problem solving, each circumstance is different, and for that reason, needs a completely different method each time. Some business obstacles, like taking a new product to market to sell online, can be extremely tough, and their solutions may need much more thought and critical assessment than others. Other issues are really easy, and you can resolve them easily, but despite of how huge or complex a problem is, you will always really need to find a viable solution. Part of being a great issue solver is understanding how to assess each situation and look at outcomes on a holistic level, examining how your options will affect you or your business in the long term. In this short article, we want to show you the 6 main abilities that are very important when it comes to solving issues both in your personal life and in business. Once you find yourself in a deep issue, you just need to access the circumstance and apply these abilities. You'll be surprised at how some of the important things you perceived as rough actually turn out to be simple. Here are the 6 problem-solving skills that any business owner should master. 1. Critical thinking. When in a problem, most of us tend to make choices in a rush. We simply execute the first idea that enters our minds without putting in the time to think about the issue at hand. Critical thinking is the process of taking your time to digest the problem at hand realistically before making a judgment. Using this skill, you're going to evaluate all the factors that are related to the problem and come up with an ideal and satisfactory conclusion. This problem-solving ability is especially essential in business when making decisions associated with finances, legal concerns, and workers. Having the ability to seriously think about problems is central to success in life and in business. 2. Creativeness and lateral thinking. Lateral thinking is the capability to think outside the box when solving issues. We asserted in an article post about the different kinds of entrepreneurs that there are: innovators and imitators. Impersonators have a one-dimension view of life and tend to think that options to one issue will work for everything. Innovators, on the other hand, believe in thinking in a different way about issues. It involves asking several questions about the issue and making sturdy conclusions that result in good solutions. Creativeness requires allowing your mind to roam and dig deep into the issues at hand, exceeding the surface and using your critical thinking problem-solving skills to evaluate each problem. 3. Effort. Having effort is central to being a successful entrepreneur. Not only is it essential in regard to consumer acquisition, it helps when you have to solve a problem. Proactive business owners are always searching for new ways to do things, to communicate with their staff, and to improve their product or service, accidentally decreasing the risk of having issues in the future. The effort of a business owner is developed with time, and it shows that you're passionate about your item and determined to be successful. Qualities that investors love to see. Any good problem solver knows how to research, find resemblances between themselves and others, and use their initiative to look for good solutions to problems. And part of being a really good problem solver is your capability to keep going despite of how many times you flop. 4. Determination. Determination, or perseverance, is a key quality of successful people. As we had discussed, issues come in different ways. Some are technical and some are financial. In most cases, the more complicated the issue, the more critical thinking and determination needed. Determination is an essential problem-solving ability that's typically misinterpreted by a lot of people. Being persistent doesn't necessarily mean doing the exact same thing over and over again and expecting a completely different result. You need to be wise in your decision-making and determined to attain the best result through constant examination. 5. Flexibility and adaptability. Flexibility or versatility is the capability to be open-minded and open to new opportunities and change. This is very true for the founders of Slack, a billion-dollar productivity software company which came out after the creator failed in his mission to create a video game. You should have the ability to change your mind to suit different circumstances or challenges. When trying to solve a problem, not all the solutions that you try out will work. Some can backfire and leave you rather annoyed. By being flexible, you'll be able to use different solutions to solve a concern. That is far better than staying with a single resolution that is not yielding any fruits. A versatile person is also open to getting recommendations from other people who might be specialists in solving comparable problems. As we have pointed out previously, the majority of us experience comparable concerns on a daily basis, especially in business, and knowing who to turn to will make all the distinction. 6. Self-control. Finally, when it comes to solving issues, you really need to be focused and disciplined. No matter how good you are at solving different problems, your efforts may not bear any fruits if you do not have self-control. That is the ability to control yourself and stay focused on finding the options to the issue. Constantly examining circumstances and thinking critically about them require a particular level of discipline, which you should need to end up being effective. By being self-disciplined, you're going to be able to remain on the right course without being sidetracked by any external elements. This skill will also help you be totally committed to finding the best options each time. Problem-solving skills. It does not matter what kind of problem you're facing. The most essential thing is how you solve it. These 6 problem-solving skills can come in handy anytime you find yourself in a predicament. This has been Business Skills, Delegation, Communication, Presentation, and Problem Solving. Written by Nathan Sides. Read for you by Chloe Jacobson. Copyright 2020 by Nathan Sides. Production copyright by Nathan Sides.